Chantelle Znideric, how are you?
Hi, Simon. I'm brilliant, thank you. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. Very well. Today, we want to showcase everything about STRIBE Global. Now, every business comes from a founder, from a mission, from a purpose and a dream. Where did yours start?
Wow, that's big. I mean, I think my journey started when I was a teenager, and it sounds a little bit of a cliche, but I had always loved fashion. It was just something that lit me up. It made me happy. And I think when I was a teenager, it was quite challenging at secondary school. And I think we all know that that was such a difficult time for most of us. And so using fashion and dressing in a way that made me feel good was amazing. So I would look at music, style icons. Madonna was a huge inspiration to me because I love the way that she was a little bit of a chameleon. So she would change her look, and I love that. And so on non-school uniform days, I would just rock up in, quite out there clothing. And I started to get noticed for it though, I think. And like I used to be one of these people, like we never really had loads of money when I was growing up. So actually, being really savvy and styling things in a way that looked expensive and cool was what I did. And so I think it really started from there. And I got lots of compliments from my friends and people around me. And that just gave me the confidence to think, well, yeah, maybe this is something I really want to go into. And I'd always loved design. I'd love music. I love fashion, all of that. I was such a creative at heart. And so using that to really make myself feel happy and dress in an authentic way, I think that's where it started from.
So it's really following your passion. And people always say, if I could ever be paid for doing something that I really enjoy, you'll never work another day in your life. I'm really getting that feeling that fashion helped you, saved you, was your friend. It gave you identity. It became enmeshed. It became who you were and are.
It really did, because I was adopted when I was 3 months old from Indonesia. And my parents had always told me I was adopted. It sounds really silly now, but some people aren't told they're adopted until they're a bit later on in life. And so I knew I looked different. I had different colored skin to my parents. But they always told me to celebrate my individuality, and they always told me to be unique. And so I really embraced that. At times it was hard, but I really embraced that. And I think that's what gave me that bravery and confidence to dress in a way that made me feel like me. And so I think at secondary school, it was a case of, wanting to belong, like we all want to belong in different stages of our lives, whether that's within a workplace or at school or within a friendship group. We all want to feel worthy of being there. And so fashion to me was just a tool to help me kind of feel good about myself. So I'm really grateful for that. And it really did. I think it really did save me. And now, after being a stylist for 20 years, that's what I love about being a stylist. It's not necessarily about the fashion. It's about actually working with my clients, overcome whatever they are going through, and actually help them to fit into whatever scenario within their lives. And so it's using it as a tool to give people the confidence and the self-belief that they can do anything.
Well, I'm also hearing that it takes a bit of courage. Now, when you work with clients who are trying to find their identity, you'll tell me, but they may have been searching for something or feeling that they've lacked something their entire life. that when they dress a certain way, it's like, oh, this is me. I would never have thought to put that with that, or confidence to wear big glasses or a hat or whatever, but they suddenly feel themselves. That's a warm feeling of identity. It may take them some courage, and you may have to bump them into doing that. How do you do that when someone you know, because of all your past and your experience in style, that they want to be something else? How do you move them forward gradually?
I work with my clients really closely, and for me, I come at it from huge empathy, because a lot of what I do is understanding every detail of my client's life, really understanding who they are as a person, what they want to achieve, what role they have, do they have a family, all of those things really matter. And so being able to understand that those details in depth means that I can translate that into a wardrobe that really works for them, and identify those pieces within their existing wardrobe that really bring them joy. And I can see that when they put on an item of clothing, for example, it lights them up. They stand differently, their body language is different, they smile, they hold themselves differently. And so that, to me, gives me the signal that they like the color or the style, and we can work with that.
What you've identified is that people can have so many identities, like mini identities. They could be a parent, they could be a boss or employee, or they could be in groups where they're trying to fit in. What it's coming across as is that someone can take all that off and finally put on their own identity, which can be really enlightening and invigorating, for them to step out as themselves, taking off every other mask. Would that be fair?
Absolutely. I think as individuals, we can tend to carry things with us, things that may have happened to us as a child, or things that people have said to us previously, and sometimes that can really stick with us. And I think the clients that I work with, they want to, well, they know that it's the right time to shed that, to really step into their own, and step into a place that feels entirely like them. So that's what I love, is the fact that, the clients that I work with know that it's a good time to invest in themselves. So letting go of that and shedding that means that they can move forward in a positive way and absolutely focus on themselves, whatever that looks like.
We talk about bringing your true self, bringing your authentic self. This sums up a big part of well-being is how we feel, how we are, how the confidence that we have. I've not heard, and I've been in the business quite a while, style being such a predominant way of doing this, because it hasn't been included on any employee benefits before. It hasn't really been spoken about before. But surely how we show up to the world, not just in what we wear, but the messages that we send about our identity and the confidence that we have, excuse my expression, the vavavoom that you can give clients and organizations now, that sums up well-being. That sums up our confidence and our identity. Why do you think that no one's really, I mean, prior to Stribe and yourself, an absolute groundbreaker in this field, why do you think perhaps it's never been spoken about so openly?
It's been a really tricky topic, because I think for organizations, they certainly don't want to tell their employees what to wear. But actually, after the pandemic, there was a shift in how we dress for work. And also, a lot of people are still working from home. They're still going into the office. Sometimes now they're expected to go into the office a lot more. So not knowing what to wear for those different occasions is really challenging, not only for the individual, not only the conversations I've had with clients in terms of, well, what do I wear? But with organizations, the conversations I've had with them recently has been really enlightening, because they want to claw back professionalism. They want to, you know, they want to elevate their brands, because they want to be the best, and they want to invest in the people to show that they care. And actually, it's a win-win for the individual and the organization, because, it brings confidence and that self-belief. And as a culture, I think it comes back to this kind of belonging sense. It's like feeling that you belong, and you can all work as a team to achieve the greater goal.
You raise about 3 or 4 interesting points there, and I'd like to break that down if that's all right, because since 2020, I don't think anyone knows really what to wear. We're told to be our authentic self. We're told to be comfortable. Turning up into a corporate environment on Zoom or any platform, wearing a hoodie could be their identity. Wearing a baseball cap could be their identity. Where is the line between, okay, I know that, but we are in a work environment where essentially the brand, the organization has a way of carrying itself in such a way. I think some people may have, especially when we look at new people coming into work who were 17, 18, 19 in lockdown, then coming in, a lot are led by their peers and their bosses and how the organization looks. But are there conflicting messages between bringing yourself to work and the professional world? I know I've got my opinion. What are you feeling and seeing when you're speaking to organizations and individuals?
It's been so interesting over the past 12 months, because for the clients that I work with, for example, if they're starting a new role in a new company, they are scoping out what other people are wearing. They are doing it themselves. They are coming to me saying, "Oh, well, I went in for my interview and this is what they were wearing." And, so we're trying to translate that into kind of an authentic wardrobe for that client. But I think for organizations, if there was more clarity, and if there
Mm.
were a corporate style guide to tell their employees and graduates and new starters what their expectations were. It's not saying this is what you have to wear, but actually giving them outfit inspiration. For me as a stylist, it's understanding their culture and understanding the expectations that they have, and also the clients that they want to attract, and creating that and designing that in a way that's easily translatable, but also accessible to each employee. Because you know, we all know that budget is sometimes an issue. Not everyone can afford expensive clothing. But I know from when I was a teenager, being able to style things in a way that looks expensive, for example, or, styling it in a way that's understated and effortless, that's how you can, you know, elevate your look. You can level up without having to spend lots of money.
To what you're saying, and especially about the expensive bit, you can pull a couple of bits together and really transform the way you look. I'm not giving fashion advice, by the way, clearly, or style advice, but I do enjoy very much working with you. Now, it is coming across that this is very much a guide. It's a template. It's you could use it or not, but this is how the organization would like to look. And you do see organizations sometimes, they're built on their identity. And people don't know what to wear, whether they are remote, whether they're going to an evening function, a summer barbecue. Um, I think this isn't about telling people what to do. This is about giving them access and ideas, and it helps them. The first thing I do when I see an evening invite for a gala evening or a black tie or an evening wear is to go back to look at previous photographs of events and think, I don't know, is this black tie? Is this open neck? Am I going to look like a Wally if I go in a full suit? So all we're doing is helping, guiding, and working with teams to let them breathe life into their wardrobe and have ideas about what to do and how to turn up for their confidence.
Absolutely. The corporate style guide is perfect for that reason, because I've just finished a project with a corporate company, and it was very much understanding, what they wanted their employees to show up in. It was understanding the categories of, for example, working online with clients. It was, what to wear in an office environment and what to wear to a formal event, like a networking event. So those three categories were very important to this company. And I think it's not just their company. I think a lot of other organizations want that same clarity. And it was just a way of providing outfit inspiration and understanding what how they want to be perceived by others and their clients. They want to attract more high net worth individuals. They are, wanting to go out to more events. They are more active online. They're actively changing their brand to attract more of the clients that they want to work with. And so this style guide really gave them clarity. Um, and the STRIBE employee benefit gives employees that ongoing outfit inspiration and style inspiration. So we can tailor it around seasonal activity. We can tailor it around heat wave dressing, for example, in the office, or what to wear on a Zoom call, but then you're going out to a client meeting. So it's thinking about all these different scenarios that we all are faced with on a weekly basis. It's and it just makes it easier. Like, no one really wants to overthink it. They just need to have that
Yeah.
guide, know that they're doing the right thing. They're wearing something appropriate for that occasion, but feel good at the same time.
You've said something there about feeling good at the same time. I mean, there's nothing wrong with having fun with this. And this shows that an organization cares because it's giving options and advice and a, a different angle on what turning up means. There are
Yeah.
some industries, and I'm going by my own thought, the financial industry, the legal industry. You've only got to look back and find out that in a lot of there's a certain way to dress, because you learn when you take an apprenticeship or where you go into an organization, you are literally learning from people who have been in the industry about how to turn up. Well,
Yeah.
the world's changed a lot recently, hasn't it? When we look at ways that people have dressed over the last 10, 15, 20 years, and we look at what it is to be affluent or successful, it can come in any shape or form. This is really saying, here are some options. I'd love to know more about Strive. This is groundbreaking. This is going into an employee benefit. This is allowing people to turn up and show up and have options and feel part of a team mentality. It also makes me think that when I look at Manchester United Football Club 25 years ago, they had an elite level of performance. They were expected to show up on the field and also off the field as well. One of those first teams, everything was expected. They thrived. Those players haven't done badly out of that. They thrive by being part of a very high performing team. Is this something that Stripe looks at as well, where the performance can be raised and the organization can perhaps be a real differentiator in a crowded market when we look at finance or legal?
Mhm. Absolutely. I think, first of all, Strive is there to educate, it's to give inspiration, and it's to give confidence and credibility to that organization and the employees within it. Because what we ideally want to do is we want to educate employees within that organization, say, hey, look, have you thought about how what you wear can make you feel? That connection of, looking great, feeling great. But then it's also about, how can you be authentic, and how can you feel yourself, and how can you feel more confident, and give people that self-belief that they can rise through that organization and be eventually at leadership level. So it is all around the education piece Then we have the corporate style guide, which gives employees inspiration on what they could wear for specific scenarios within their everyday working life. So it could be what to wear on a Zoom call. I know that sounds really simple, but if you're not told what the dress code is, and a lot of the time it's, oh, well, dress for your day, it's business casual. How does that translate? Everybody is going to take that and roll with it in their own different way. And that's when it can get a little bit blurred, because no one knows what the guidelines are. No one's been given the inspiration on what they can wear. And I think sometimes if you've not worked in a corporate environment before, a new graduate, for example, they may not know what the guidelines are, and they may think that wearing a crop top is acceptable, or they may think that, you know, wearing a short skirt is acceptable, or see-through fabrics. All of these things could play out in the workplace that isn't necessarily appropriate to wear. So first of all, it's the education piece, then it's the inspiration piece, and then it's actually how do you level up your personal brand as you're rising through that organization. So there's an opportunity also to work with individual teams. So it might be the leadership team, and they could have one-to-one consultations where I can sit down with each of their senior leaders and kind of design and curate an appropriate wardrobe and find out exactly, you know, how they want to lead. And that's not like, it's more about how do they step into this new role, and how do they kind of gain that respect and authority in the way that they dress. I've worked with a lot of clients that have moved into senior leadership roles, and they want to, perhaps before actually they may have dressed in a way just to fit in, but actually now they want to own it and they want to dress with authenticity. So, and I love that bit. So yes, it's there are 4 parts to STRIBE, and I'm super excited about it because I know that it can really build confidence and self-belief from the inside out.
I'm so excited about this. Genuinely, I've got goosebumps because one, it's not been done before. You're a trailblazer and a leader into this space. The second of all, it is so inclusive. If I was starting a new role as a graduate, as a 19, 20, 21, where my appearance matters to me so much and fitting in as part of the tribe, I would want to know, I would want it all put out. This is where you are, but this is how you might like to guide yourself in this area, because you don't know what you don't know. So reducing the anxiety, allowing people to still be individual, but to fit in with their team, is one thing. And that's one part of STRIBE, is of the 4 bits. But then you mentioned the transition. You fit in, you wear whatever, no one wants to feel like they're standing out maybe when they're entering new territory, unless you're super confident, which is great. Then you work up through to leadership, where personal brand becomes very important, because you might be in those lucky positions where a lot of organizations are looking at you and might want to headhunt you, or they want to know who the leader in that field is. And I've seen people then move, when they get to very senior leadership, they'll stand on stage. Maybe I'm talking as a male with a suit that's no tie, open neck, but they've got trainers on.
Yeah.
And I think, oh, alarm bells, alarm bells. If I did that at my level, it might be seen as slightly arrogant, or what is he doing? But at a certain level, it's kind of what expected, that you just grow a little bit of distance in your style and identity. Having you and your team there to guide and to show examples of other senior leaders. And let's face it, some senior leaders look like they were born to be a senior leader, well groomed, confident in their own identity. You've been there and seen all this. You are just a very wise pair of eyes and ears to guide teams and individuals on how to stand out professionally.
Yeah, and that's what I love about it, because everyone is so different. Everyone comes at it from such a different place. But ultimately, it is about working with the individual and helping them to feel more confident. Like, depending on what organization they're the CEO of or a senior leader within, it's about, really understanding what the expectations are, how they want to lead, um, who's in their team, what department they're in, all of those things. Like, what do they do in a week? Who are they having meetings with? All of those things are so important. Do they travel for work? Everything has to be curated in such a way. And actually, you mentioned about the leaders that you know and how groomed they are. That doesn't just happen. It's a journey for them, and subtly, perhaps they may have grown into that role. Quite often, they might have had help behind the scenes. You never know. Um, but I think it's one of those things that if we can support people in it, then they are going to bring their best version to work every day.
I know that you have been on television. I know that you've been in magazines and you're very in demand. So there's nothing that you haven't seen. If I was going on TV for an interview, if I was going to do a podcast recording, what do I wear? I don't want to be all suited and booted. I want people to see me as well. I'm a senior leader. I've got activities outside of work as well. How do I express that? And I know you're there for that. I also know that with your upbringing, your childhood, with your search for identity and everything else, you're seeing it from a very human part as well as just the professional part. I would want to ring you if I was going to do a podcast interview and say, Chantal, I'm thinking of this. Sometimes a second opinion, even in a shop, people are asking people, how do I look? Does this look too tight? I mean, that's effectively what mirrors are for, aren't they? To give you a second opinion from different angles. You are the elite version of this second opinion and advice.
We lack time. We're busy people, and there's a lot of demands on us. It's not just work, it's family. We want to make things happen quickly, seamlessly. I think people that realize that this is an investment, they they obviously are committed to that. And like, it's been amazing because I've had clients that I've worked with for 20 years. I was in Guildford the other day and I was with a client who still had clothes in her wardrobe that we bought 20 years ago. And that's a huge thing, because it's not just going out buying clothes. It's about really curating the right pieces that work hard for you. And I'm very much into cost per wear. Everything is chosen intentionally. And seeing those clothes still in the wardrobe over 20 years, looking good, is such a huge win, because that's a really good investment.
It's a great investment financially, and also those outfits might have been a great investment for them professionally as well, because they've obviously grown to feel comfortable and it's shaped to their character. Now, I'm picking on big industries, insurance industry, and like I said, the legal and the financial, etc. I'm a senior leader and I want to shape our team. We've got big investment. We're looking to let the world know that we want to be in the top 1 or 2%. We've got a graduate scheme coming through. We want to help everyone feel part of this and inclusive and know what to wear. We've got big events. We've got summer barbecues. We'd just like everyone to be happy and to shine and to look like the great people we want our brand to be. How do I work with STRIBE? How do I contact you, and where do we go from here? Because I want to differentiate our organization in this field. The timing is perfect for this.
Well, get in touch, book a discovery call with me. Let's have a chat. Let's understand where you are. Let's understand what you want to achieve. And I can design the style program for your organization. It might be that you want to start with a series of present sessions. It might be that you want to actually design the corporate style guide for every team in your organization. Or it might be that you want to focus on your leaders, and therefore you might want to invest in some one-to-one styling sessions. It's all there, and can be tailored around your requirements. So do get in touch. The website is personal-stylist.co.uk/stribe.
Chantal, that's fantastic. I want to be straight on the phone. I'd like to get to have a discovery call and to see everything that you and your team can offer. Um, the name STRIBE, it's striking. STRIBE, I know what it means. Tell the audience.
Oh my gosh, I love coming up with this name. I love Stribe too. So it's a combination of style and tribe. Stribe.
So the Style Tribe, for any organization looking to get in touch with you, just to see this as an option. Let me remind everyone, this is groundbreaking. We haven't done this before. It's not telling everyone what to wear. It's showing people how to be their best selves. And maybe they've been looking for this solution for quite some time. Chantelle, thank you so much. Is there anything else you would like to add before we wrap up this brief session, the first of many, on the progress and the introduction of STRIBE into the corporate market in terms of employee benefits?
It's super exciting. It's really timely. If you are an organization that feels like they are in this space and they want to grow and they want to elevate their personal brand and their brand, they want to invest in their employees in this way, please do get in touch. And thank you, Simon. I've really enjoyed this conversation.
Well, I enjoy your company all the time, and this will be the first of many. Chantelle, thank you so much.
Thank you, Simon.